Waiting in the wings is a generation of talented teenagers set to make a big impact on the ATP Tour. And leading the way will be these two brothers, 16-year-old Ryan and 14-year-old Christian Harrison. To find out more about two of the brightest prospects in the American tennis world today, we traveled to Texas, where the brothers currently live and train.
Well, my long-term goal I want to achieve is probably everybody's goal. I want to be #1 in the world, and so that's my biggest goal right now.
You know, we've always dreamed about doing that, and me being 1 in the world, him being 2, him joking around saying he was going to be 1, I was going to be 2, you know, just kind of messing with each other like that. But, you know, that's a long ways away. I mean, we're both 14 and 16 years old. It's dreams, but, you know, there's a lot of steps that you got to take along the way to get to that point, but it's definitely something we'd love to do.
The higher the ball, the higher your contact point on the ball.
Like most sporting prodigies, the Harrison brothers were introduced to the sport almost as soon as they could walk. Their father, Pat, who coaches them, is himself a former tennis professional.
You know, I was a head director in Louisiana of a club there for a long time, and when Ryan was 3 years old, he would bug me to go to work with me each day. And for weeks I wouldn't let him, and so finally I told my wife, I said, well, be ready to come pick him up in about an hour because I've got to teach all day, and I'm not going to have time to try to feed him balls. And so he got out there, and the court I'd teach on was right next to a big wall, and he got a racquetball racket and 5 or 6 balls, and would just tap them up against the wall. And he would do it for an hour or two, go in and watch Cartoon Network, come back out and start tapping balls on the wall, and I never had to call my wife. From that point forward, he'd go to work with me every day and just loved it.
Ryan and Christian proved to be naturals on the court, and by the age of 4, they could exchange baseline rallies. Both played their first tournaments at 5, and by 7, they were beating much older players at the US Under-12 National Championships. To further develop their talent, the Harrison family moved from their home in Shreveport, Louisiana, to Texas, so that Ryan and Christian could attend the John Newcomb Tennis Academy. They've been here on the outskirts of San Antonio for the past 4.5 years. Their dad is one of the main coaches at the academy and has overseen his son's dramatic progress as they've taken the US junior tennis world by storm.
They both like to attack, but one does it a little differently. Christian's good at attacking when he's got people off balance. Ryan can serve and volley a little more naturally, probably has a little more power. Christian is more consistent, senses opportunities and takes advantage of them, and keeps a good head throughout the match most of the time.
Christian is the world's top-ranked 14-year-old player. 4 years ago, Guillermo Vilas saw him on court and described him as the best 10-year-old that he'd ever seen play. More recently, John McEnroe hit with Christian at the US Open and sang the praises of both brothers live on air whilst commentating on the tournament for American television.
It feels good, but you know, there's still a lot of good players out there who are all trying to get to #1 in the world, but you just obviously still got to keep working really hard.
Earlier this year, just before his 16th birthday, Ryan lived up to his billing as the next big thing in men's tennis at an ATP event in Houston. Having qualified for the tournament, he won his first round match against Pablo Cuevas before losing to James Blake. The victory saw him join Rafael Nadal and Richard Gasquet as only the third 15-year-old since 1990 to win a match on the main ATP Tour.
I haven't made it yet. I just kind of put myself out there. I'm, you know, a possible prospect. There's nothing, you know, you don't want to be known as a person who peaked at 15 years old. All the top professionals have really made their move between like 17 years old, you know, 19 and a half. That's when everyone really steps up and makes their move. That's when your body kind of fully matures and you can really withstand 3 out of 5 sets and play all day in and day out with people. As a 16-year-old, you know, obviously I'm not fully grown yet. I'm going to be a little bit sore if I have to go out there and play, you know, slams consistently. But I think that the next few years is kind of when you make or break your career.
Ryan and Christian train for around 5 hours a day. Ryan's training regime includes fitness work in the gym. The 16-year-old is one of the most powerful players for his age in the world, and he already has a serve in excess of 130 miles per hour. Occasionally, the teenager makes the short trip up Interstate 35 to Austin to hit with the man with the hardest serve in tennis, Andy Roddick.
Playing with Roddick, I mean, that's been exciting. I mean, he's really helpful with me. I mean, he's a great guy, and you know, he's starting to become one of my friends, and I really like him. I mean, he's trying to help me in everywhere possible. I mean, every time we hit, anytime he sees something or notices something that he really wants to say, I mean, he doesn't hold back. He doesn't hesitate. You know, as soon as I start kind of mentally checking out in practice, and I start, you know, getting a little bit distracted, he's hey dude, you know, get back in it right now. Let's go.
Christian hasn't really hit the weights yet. Off court, he spends a lot of his time refining his hand-eye coordination in his own backyard. The boys are homeschooled by their mum, Susie, a former high school teacher. This allows them a good deal of flexibility in juggling their studies with their training commitments.
What is A with respect to CB?
The last American siblings to generate such a buzz and excitement in US tennis circles were Venus and Serena Williams. In fact, Ryan and Christian have recently been snapped up by the same sports management company that helped shape the Williams sisters' careers. The brothers have also signed endorsement deals with a shoe company and racket manufacturer. Ryan and Christian's rapid development has not only been aided by their natural talent and competitive streak, but also due to the fact that, like the Williams sisters before them, they're constantly driving and encouraging one another to excel.
We'll push each other and stuff, and when we hit with each other and we'll play points. It's always competitive, so that's pushing each other there. But he's 2 years older, and so I kind of get to see everything he's done and kind of learn from his mistakes, or try to learn from his mistakes, and that's real helpful.
If these two remarkably talented brothers can continue their impressive progression in the sport, then they may well be the ones to bring the glory days back to the American men's game.
They've achieved a lot at the junior level, but nothing professionally, which is the ultimate goal for both of them. The biggest thing is keeping a level head, understanding with expectations comes more, you know, commitment of your time. And a lot of it is don't put too much pressure on yourself. Understand no matter what level you get to, you're still just out there enjoying, trying to be the best you can be at something you love to do.
It's always hard to predict a future champion, but chances are that Ryan and Christian Harrison are going to become very familiar names indeed.